All right. Good morning, everyone. Let's get started here. Okay. Another nice session last night in the U.S. markets and really in global markets, with us rallying now into this big announcement tonight from the Fed. This is, we talked about maybe possibly moving sideways into this announcement, but I think, and I was mentioning this yesterday, I think that, going into this number, I think markets are starting to realize that, this is like the last thing hanging over our head. The Chinese story seems like it's, somewhat played out for the moment. Europe's all right. Data pretty much everywhere has actually been reasonable, and all of a sudden, we're at the very end of September. It's time for end of year rally, and so I think very quickly markets are starting to sense the fact that this is maybe the last thing really standing in the way, and either way they're not too worried about what's going to happen. Even if she raises by a quarter basis point, the market it might come as a bit of relief. So we've seen a little bit of rally the last couple sessions. We started to see commodities get off the ground yesterday. We started to see some of the emerging market currencies start to rally a little bit, potentially on this being the end of the fear of the Fed play coming. So this is I think tonight's going to be really interesting. It's going to be interesting to see the reaction that you get afterward. But like we talked about yesterday, a lot of coils in the market, and I think this thing's already itching. It's starting to feel like to make a move higher. So just watch closely. We could very quickly tack on a few percent after this Fed announcement if there's no real surprises. All right, in Asia overnight, you can see we followed on the back of European and U.S. markets a bit yesterday. Nothing too spectacular here, but just everything generally up about 0.5% to 1%. You can see that resources and Oz kind of continued on to what they did yesterday in our session, continuing to push a little bit higher. And I genuinely believe that if we get a hike, it'll actually be bullish for all of those counters. Chart of interest, crap, it hasn't attached. So the last Fed surprise rate hike was definitely a bit of an onslaught from the bond market. One thing that I don't think that you can price in here is a surprise if they come and hike. I think that we're at like 35 or 40% of the people think we're going to hike, and economists are even higher than that. So I don't think that you can mark this as a surprise if we do get a rate hike. So I wouldn't be too fearful of that. We've got RIMGRO, which is going to be out later today. Let's have a look there. The expectation for numbers. Other than that, no corporate action to report. We've got. Well, maybe we should just talk about the SAB Miller announcement from yesterday real quickly. Obviously, announcing that AB InBev's come to them with intention to make an offer, and they've got about a month, if I'm not mistaken, for them to make that offer. If they don't make that offer in terms of the UK legislation, you've got about 6 months to make a further offer, and that's you've got 6 months where you can't do anything else. So that's I think that's something that's important to take note of. It's got to happen rather quickly. In terms of market data today, we have UK retail sales. We've got current account balance in the States, housing starts, initial jobless claims, and obviously the FOMC. So that's the monster, as we know, is the FOMC. I think that's going to be what we want to pay attention to today. Just keep that in mind that nothing really matters until that happens. So we've got closeout here happening as well, which is going to be wild. It's going to drive things here locally, but everything else